Two, one. Yeah. So only recording number 3 for our first podcast. All right. So a little disclosure here for our lovely first podcast, first of many. So what we are not. So this podcast is going to be built around tips, advice, some suggestions from yours truly and Jake Weeks. We are building our tips and our suggestions and our podcast around our own personal experience, our education, and our training. But just know that we are not doctors, we're not licensed nutritionists or dietitians. But I'd love to know, Jake, tell me a little bit about you.
My name's Jake Weeks. I'm the owner of fitandhappyclub.com. It's a Spokane personal training company. I've been a soccer coach and a basketball coach for years. I've worked with kids, the disabled, seniors, and elite athletes. You can call me for a couple free trial sessions if you want, 509-720-6823, or visit my site, like I said, fitandhappyclub.com. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been training myself, working out hard and trying to learn as much as I can about nutrition for 20 years. I'm not a doctor or PhD, but I do pride myself on trying to understand the latest science about fitness and nutrition.
Awesome. Well, I love it. You're amazing. I am. Thank you. So I'm Catherine Hood. I am a certified health and lifestyle coach. I'm kind of the anti-diet coach. I'm going to get you off of that diet roller coaster, teach you how to build actually a healthy lifestyle for you and your family. I'm going to also help you reach your goals, smash your goals, and create new amazing goals. So let's go into our topic. Let's talk about intermittent fasting. I want to hear what you got, Jake.
Intermittent fasting is basically just restricting when you eat. For most people, that means eating within a certain amount of hours each day, like eating within 12 hours, 8 hours is as infrequent as once a day. That there's some debatable science about that, but I do know a lot of doctors who put their older clients on those types of diets for diabetes, for example. There's also different forms of intermittent fasting. There's 5 days on, 2 days off is a very popular one. There's fasting mimicking diets. There's 1 day on, 1 day off. And then there's just the idea of fasting, once a month for a day or once every 3 months for 3 days or something like that. So there's lots of different forms of intermittent fasting. The benefits include weight loss if you actually reduce the amount that you eat in addition to when you eat. Less resistance to insulin. That's, in my opinion, the biggest benefit of intermittent fasting, because when you eat protein and sugar, you have a spike in insulin, which sort of starts this roller coaster of energy, and which leads to diabetes and pre-diabetes, and is a major health problem in America and the world, honestly. So if you can reduce the amount of time that you get that insulin spike, and therefore reduce the amount of insulin resistance that you develop over time, then that can definitely lead to systemic health. So one easy way to do that, besides choosing your foods carefully, like I said, protein and carbs cause that spike, fat does not, interestingly. But in addition to just eating healthier foods, you can eat in a smaller window. And I personally do it. I actually have as much energy, if not more, than I did when I was trying to eat more meals more often, starting with an early breakfast. And it's been sort of my natural lifestyle. It's just been what I like to do naturally. It might not work for everyone, but it works for me. In addition to the weight loss and the insulin resistance, there's other interesting side effects, benefits. One is increased autophagy, which is basically your body's cleaning out of cells, kind of getting rid of the old stuff. And that can't really happen if you keep feeding it new stuff. And so sometimes you actually, to create autophagy in your body, you actually have to fast. Well, you don't have to. There's got to be ways to accomplish it, I imagine, without people who fast for more than 8 hours a day. But it's a lot more efficient in a fasted state. Same with the reduction of IGF-1. That's a growth factor that was discovered by Walter Longo. He's a USC scientist, and he studies longevity. And he discovered that less of that results in increased longevity, less cancer, less disease. So that's really interesting. That's like autophagy is sort of in its infancy as far as the science goes, but very interesting nonetheless. It results in increased human growth hormone, which your body uses to create muscle. And there's lots of studies suggesting that it lowers blood pressure, and like we said, lowers insulin resistance. So for me, I like to recommend it to any client who can eat that way and not feel hungry and gets the energy that they need for the day. What do you think? Do you recommend it to your clients?
Well, for me, no. Well, I guess it depends on their goals. Most of the clients that I work with are dealing with a weight loss goal, or they're wanting to lose weight slowly, but not lose muscle because they're afraid of having that skinny fat look or looking like skin and bones. So, the way to do it is to slowly over a period of time, lose weight, maintain as much muscle mass as possible, which in turn is your metabolic engine. You want that engine to be intact. You want it to be strong. And that gives those curvy, those curves that everybody loves, right? So for me and my goals, I try to consume 150 to 190 grams of protein a day. And I like to spread those out throughout my entire day. So really the only fasting that I do is while I sleep for my 8 hours that I schedule and nail every single night, unless I have to pick somebody up at the airport, and then that totally changes things. But no, I think it is important to get no more than 30 grams of protein per 3 hours as well, because pretty much anything over that your body is going to recognize as a sugar, believe it or not. But you're right, different studies, you can go online, you can Google things, or you can, again, I have several resources that I use really regularly. But all the studies that I research, but again, my goals are about bodybuilding. It's about growing muscle. It's about maintaining muscle. It's about getting those proteins in systematically throughout the day. Not to mention, if I go without eating for a long period of time, I become very hangry. And it also affects my performance in the gym. And for me, my performance in the gym is really critical. I want to have good form. I want to have, get through my entire workout without feeling like I need to take a nap. Plus my mood. Lack of eating or going through long periods of starvation, I start to get really hangry. Also, all the studies that I go through and read, if you're starving yourself for long periods of time, it basically, again, attacks your body is going to go after your muscle as a fuel source. And I so much don't want to do that. So I want to stay anabolic as much as possible and stay out of the catabolic range. Do I agree about cleaning out your body? Do I agree that we need to rest and recover? Yeah, absolutely. There's a time and a place for it. Just for me and my clients, it's not something that I promote, intermittent fasting. I also see a lot of people that believe that intermittent fasting is an excuse to eat whatever they want for that 3 or 4 hours a day. And that's just not really what my goals are. My goals are to eat and then educate my clients in eating foods that are highly nutritious, but balanced. I eat carbs. I eat carbs in the morning. I eat carbs before I work out, and I also have carbs after I work out. So yeah, so that's kind of where I stand on it. But again, we all have our own views, our own studies, our own research, and it does boil down to the individual. It absolutely does.
The hardest part to synthesize, I think, is maybe the bodybuilder, the athlete like you, who really needs to get sustained energy and protein. It can be done. And I know there's athletes that do it. There's lots of them online. So a good resource that I know is Thomas DeLauer. He talks about it a lot, and he's a big buff guy. In addition to Walter Longo, he's the USC physician. Dr. Eric Berg's another great resource for this kind of thing online. I think the best benefit, like we said earlier, though, is just that insulin resistance. So besides the performance aspect, is from a longevity aspect, or for a client maybe that does have diabetes or is pre-diabetic, hyperglycemic, then I think there is a place for it. And probably, I think it sounds like increasingly doctors are recommending it to clients as sort of a systemic way to kind of approach some of these diseases like diabetes.
Certainly. Well, great. Well, I feel like this is informative. This is our third take, which, is quite comical. I will take blame now for about 3/4 of it, so apologies. But I'm really excited to throw out some topics and discuss them. And I know that some of these topics that we already have lined out, we're going to have different viewpoints, come at it from different angles. And it just really stems from the education and training that we get, or what we're reading, or what we're diving into. But definitely needs are going to vary. Someone that's looking to focus on endurance and be able to maybe run marathons are going to have a little bit different goals and somebody that is trying to be a bodybuilder on the natural arena, or whatever, or a mix of both, or somewhere in between. So it is going to be fun. I am excited to do lots of these and just throw up a topic and let's just discuss it. But we do have this fun, incredible quiz that we will have a link in the description or below this video, depending on where you're watching this from, whether it be YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, wherever you're watching this. We will have a link accompanying this video that we encourage you to take. It does incorporate some of the points that we talked about today to test your knowledge and see what you learned today. But we'd love to see how you score and what your thoughts are about intermittent fasting. But aside from that, I think that's all I have. Do you have anything else to add, Jake? I
don't. Thank you, Catherine. You summed that up well.
Awesome. Well, good. All right. Well, until next time. Bye.